Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat, and our special guest today is Dr. Marc Andre Doucet. And Marc Andre, you're a general practitioner, but you're also the chief of family medicine for the Chaleur region. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's right on, Bob.
Okay, so let's talk. And I've been talking to a lot of people lately about what's going to change in their landscape with the virus and how that's affected people and how it's affected their businesses. But we can't forget the frontline workers like yourself is that the future is going to change. And so how do you see some of that change happening in your world?
Yeah, so definitely the last, say, 2 months have been difficult. Obviously, we haven't been off. We've been working quite hard as frontline workers, of course. And the future is going to be different. It has been different for the last several weeks. We've been doing a lot of visits over the phone. Some of that will continue, but we're likely going to integrate different types of virtual appointments as well, such as, for example, this platform, Zoom, or other types of video conferencing that we'll be able to use.
So.
Yeah.
You know, I can see that as being, and you know, there's a disadvantage to it because you know you really don't have that opportunity to be up close and personal, and that in some cases is very important for a doctor. But again, there's some real added features to this that we need to consider as being pretty positive, right?
Yeah, definitely. And even before this pandemic, we were doing some telephone calls with patients, you know, going over results and so on. But a lot of time we had the patient come in just to discuss the results. So these are things that we'll be able to follow up over the phone, which I think for the patient can be quite interesting instead of coming to the waiting room and then waiting to see their doctor and so on, where we can set a time and a date to discuss certain findings. And other, you know, other diagnoses or other types of visits fit well with this kind of approach. I mean, high blood pressure or diabetes or, you know, changing some types of medication. Those are all types of visit that can be managed quite well over the phone, so, or teleconference, for example.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned that, and I know that you're my family doctor, and I've been to visit you a number of times, but especially today, we really start paying attention to being close to people, and if somebody coughs or anything like that, all of a sudden now our reactions are completely different than they were before. And, you know, the waiting rooms that are, especially at where you're practicing today, the waiting rooms have probably room for 50 people, I would guess, that you have in that waiting room?
Well, we used to have more than 50, probably closer to 100, but right now every other seat has an X through it, so you can't sit to respect that 2-meter boundary.
Yeah.
So we're down probably to a waiting room of, I don't know, 25, 30 places, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the last thing we want people to be sitting in, is the waiting room. So right now our system is, basically, you go between the two doors, you call up, and we bring you right to the exam room. So we limit really patient contact with other patients. So that's the way we're working right now.
And like you said, moving into this world of using platforms like we are right now and doing this interview will definitely eliminate a lot of those potentials of being exposed to somebody else. Because again, I think that the fact of one of the things that we've understood from this virus is that anybody can be a carrier, right? And so you really don't know. You can't look at somebody and say, "Oh, I got to stay away from him or stay away from that person."
That's correct. Yeah,
can't tell.
Asymptomatic carriers. Yes. Yeah. But I mean, even in 12, 18, 24 months from now, I think virtual medicine, let's call it that, will still be here. Okay. Now, Medicare and the Department of Health have recognized a billing code that we can actually bill a visit almost the same amount that a visit in person, right? So I think if you're able to give the same type of care for certain diagnoses over the phone compared to in person, I think it's just right that we're paid about the same. And now that that we're able to bill it, this is opening doors to virtual care to stay, and we're hoping that this billing code stays for a long time, right?
And people's information can be secured through these platforms also, I'm sure.
Some electronic medical records, for example, the one we use at the clinic, has an integrated video platform to communicate with patients. Obviously, there are some barriers in terms of which patient can access this. Whether they have access to internet based on their literacy, so some patients it doesn't work, so you'll end up talking over the phone or getting this patient to come in. But for a large majority of people, this can work.
Well, the other thing I think that's going to end up happening is that a lot of these platforms like this one have existed for a long time. It's just we haven't used them to their full capacity. And I believe that the more and more we use them, there's going to be more iterations, there's going to be more updates, there's going to be different ways of doing it. And eventually, there's these platforms will evolve into something else that we never even thought they could have.
Yeah. Like even this platform here, the Zoom platform, the government in New Brunswick has signed a license for healthcare providers. So the Zoom that I'm on now is actually a secure Zoom where I could actually interact with patients.
Well, that's great to hear, and I really want to thank you for coming on our program and talking about that, because again, it gets people thinking and understanding and looking at how we can evolve, and because the old normal of going to the doctor's office and sitting with everybody else there that's sick and waiting to see you has evolved, and we're not going to see much of that. So it's going to be turning into something different. And I want to thank you for talking about that, and for getting out there and getting people to start thinking about this and being prepared for it.
Well, it was my pleasure to be here tonight. And next time I see you on Zoom, it might be for your appointment.
Well, there we go. And it's true, you're my doctor, so it very well might be a Zoom, and we'll get off of the phone and be able to do it. So, Dr. Doucet, again, thank you very much. Really much appreciate it. And the other thing about this is that we're getting to know what people's homes look like, right? Because of these Zoom meetings. So it's always good to be able to do that and see people on a more human side through there. So for everybody that's listening in, thanks again for listening to what's going on. And at the same time, create a safe space for yourself and the people close to you. There we go for another edition of Northern Heat.